Good evening. So I want to make a motion to start the License Board meeting for Wednesday, October 2nd, 5:17 p.m. Can I get a second? All those in favor? Aye. So moved. So with all the commissioners present, we don't need to do roll call. It's required by state law when someone is attending remotely. First item on the agenda is a new seasonal all-alcohol license for 66 Corporation, 56 Jackson Street. This is a continuation from our September 4th meeting, and Alex is going to start with some, you want to start with the updates?
So the city solicitor sent us the email. There's nothing that states this is against the law that you can't have a liquor license next to a dispensary. When I went to the building department stated that they had no knowledge that this is gonna be a bar. When you guys went in to pull the permits, I guess what was stated to building, it was gonna be a lounge for their staff.
And so wait, before you, do you have anything else to add before you? So
Yeah.
let her finish her statements and then you guys can speak.
So that was the first thing it was gonna be turned into a lounge staff. The second thing is that area itself doesn't have an occupancy number for it yet, but on the application it states 125. And also you guys need to apply for a change of use. If a bar is gonna go into that building, it needs to be, I believe, a use of assembly, and right now it's not that. A fire inspection is required, as well as a Board of Health, because a food permit is required, because alcohol is considered a food. So did you guys know about all of that, or are you in the process of that?
No, some of those things were not made clear, and I think, and frankly, I think you and I spoke about the occupancy, and as you indicated, the health department would need to go in to make an assessment as to the health. I believe you said health department at the time, but okay. But with regard to any additional requirements, we're happy to take care of those. But no, we were not aware of those specific requirements.
Okay. Is there a separate bathroom for the bar? Does the bar area have a bathroom? A separate bathroom?
Yes, there is. Yes,
Okay.
there is this space for a bathroom. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There's space for it, or there is one?
There
No,
is.
there's
There is.
space.
There is a bathroom.
Oh.
Sorry, there physically is a bathroom presently.
Okay.
So I wouldn't have an issue with you, that you hadn't gone through the process of some of this stuff, but I'm a little concerned that the building department is saying someone told them on their inspection it was a lounge. So can you speak a little, I mean, that's a concern to me, that a department was told something that was totally different from what the business is set to be. So
Well-
can you speak on that?
Yes. Chris, I'll let you come speak to that.
Do you want me to come up and introduce myself?
Yes, please.
My name's Chris Vianello. I'm from Days Dispensary. When we were leasing the entire space. The space was subdivided and subleased, but when we went in there, we didn't know who was going to be coming in to take over that space and what it was going to be used for. So that's why when we initially went into the building department, we said this is going to be a separate space. We didn't say it's going to be a separate space for a lounge or a bar, because that hadn't been brought to the table yet. We were subdividing that regardless of who was going to come in as the next tenant. So that's why there's that, yeah. So now that I think when they get their license, they're gonna come in and say, okay, we have the license now, and then go to the building department and say, this is what we're gonna be doing.
It doesn't work like that, Chris.
Okay, yeah, however it works.
Sorry, normally, building is involved, fire department as well as Board of Health. It's kind of like a conjoint thing. Everything basically is in the process of everything at the same time.
Sure, I was just speaking to, that has nothing to do with me. I just wanted to speak about why
Sorry.
that, yeah, why that,
So the
Ryan.
last process is the license.
Exactly.
Everything else have to come first.
So I think for us, one of our
If you can
concerns,
introduce yourself,
Ryan
please.
McCullum, one of our concerns is we're looking at the actual physical bar now, like what we're going to do as far as how much it's going to cost. And what we didn't want to do, and now it's good that we know that this is the sequence that we need to have. We didn't want to build out a bar and then not get a license, right? And so it's kind of a chicken and egg thing. We want to be able to have a license before we spend $30,000 or some odd money on a bar itself, and not build out a bar and then say, hey, we can't get a license. So, if we need to go back to building and have building inspect what some plans would be for a bar, that's fine. Fire whomever else. I mean, a list from the city or from somebody that tells us all the things we need to do would be great and helpful. If we don't have that, then we'll just go do what we need to do.
So you said you didn't want to build out the bar unless you got approved. So I don't know if you're aware, but once the paperwork gets sent to the state comes down and does like a full-blown inspection. If that area is not set up, there's no way the state would even approve this license.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So
So
what we're
just-
saying is we have to build out the bar before we get a license to have,
I'm not saying that, I'm just making you aware of the process of.
but
once
for
it
you
gets-
all, so besides the state part, so for when building comes in, will they like to see a physical bar?
You have to reach out to building, I don't know.
I mean, I haven't built a bar before, but I do know architectural drawings.
Yeah,
may be
that's,
sufficient.
so
You don't
plans are
necessarily
sufficient,
have to
correct?
Have done the work.
So we
yeah.
will be able to submit well, we'll talk to building, we'll ask them if we can submit plans
Yeah.
that they could approve
Right. 'Cause-
beforehand.
Yeah, because I think what the ABCC is, they're going to want to see that floor
Yep.
plan that's been approved. And, yeah, then.
But ABCC's after you all.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
But building's before you all. You all won't grant us a license before building says we're good.
Right, we can't.
Building, fire, and
Anybody else? Health?
Board of Health.
Board of
Board of
Health.
Health.
Yeah, it's a state law, and it's on the ABCC website.
What is the specific type of, what is the license they're applying? Is it special downtown? What license are they applying
No, they're
for?
applying for a seasonal club license, so club is private. So it's a private social club there.
But it's seasonal,
Seasonal, correct.
so it can't be open between January.
From January 15th all the way till March 31st.
can be open, they cannot serve.
We cannot
Well,
Well,
serve
they
alcohol.
can't open at all because it's a bar with a liquor license. What are the chances they're not gonna, they have to be closed?
So all the private clubs with bars who have seasonal licenses are closed from
Are shut
January
down.
to March? Okay.
They don't operate.
I mean, we assumed that. We didn't know if we could be open and just not serving or if we were shut. That part's not a problem.
Okay. Which actually makes the timing kind of work, I think, because you're not going to have it all built out and ready for the public with a certificate of occupancy before the seasonal comes in like next spring. So I think we've got some time to work here.
Sure.
And so with that, and by the way, I read the city solicitor's opinion. That satisfied any question I had about that. 'Cause
Yep.
it's just a completely novel question to us. We've
Sure.
not seen this before.
We appreciated that.
But with that, I think what we'd probably want to do.
I have
Go
a couple
ahead.
of.
Sure.
I just have a couple of statements I wanted to, about this. There can be no common bathroom
Nope.
between the two businesses, and there can be no entrance directly between the two businesses.
There currently is not, and there will
So-
not be.
Yeah, so obviously, an entrance from the outside into a common area to both businesses would be
That's-
okay,
Sure. I mean, you
But-
kind of have to.
but somehow a door between the two businesses, and if in the future one were built, I don't think this commission would be happy with that.
So, and I think we do have the leeway to set a condition like that. We just don't want people like jumping from the
Yeah.
dispensary into the bar without like at least going out into a
100%.
common public area.
And the CCC wouldn't like
Yeah.
that either.
I think that's right. Yeah, so I think we could certainly look at that, when we're
And so
approving it.
outside of the building department, fire department, Board of Health, because it's a food considered, the liquor's considered a food, is there other things that we need to satisfy?
And then we would give them, we'd also issue a common victular license, right? And so we'd also issue, because it's a bar, I guess it has to do with limes or different things, we also issue we need to issue a second license based on you getting Board of Health approval, which is called a common victular license.
Okay.
Which has to do with food service.
So that's a separate application, we have to come in front of you again?
Yeah,
You can do it all at once.
It's a standard application for our bars, but it's not intense as the alcohol. So it's a $25 fee application. You fill it out, we'll get it approved, and then issue the license.
All right, and then all those three separate departments, we contact them separately to have them set up an inspection.
Yeah, there's paperwork and things you would have to provide to those offices, but yes, they would go out separately to do inspections. because it's
And
two
then-
different departments.
The how soon after that, and then after that, we would ask to get back on your agenda.
Soon as, I mean, I think as soon as we know there's movement, or like progress, as far as like those both departments, I don't see why not they couldn't get both, they couldn't get in front of the agenda. So if, for example, if it happens this month and you're able to make the November agenda, cause everything's in the works and it looks good, I don't see why that can't happen.
So I was
And
gonna,
that's where I was going.
do we want to table this?
That's exactly what I'm thinking, and table it as old business for the next meeting. If you're not ready, we can just keep doing
Sure.
that. If you are ready, we can take it up. Wasn't there one other question, though, something about a use designation?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's all with, so
Is that
the
building?
building is the occupancy and the change of use.
Okay, so it's all there.
So is the change of use, though, does that have to go in front of the city council?
I don't know how that works.
Okay.
I don't know how that works.
Or zoning.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how that works.
But zoning changes typically, because I've gone to the city, I've gone, not in front of the city council, I've attended city council meetings when zoning needs to be changed. and
Sure.
And it goes in front of the city council.
Oh, if you're changing zoning, but I think what we're talking about here, there is a zoning specialist in the building department now, and I think they just have to verify that the use that you have now, and there's a code.
So
that
we're
they place
changing
on.
the use, we're not changing the zone.
That's,
zoning.
I think
Because
that's
that would kind of be like
correct.
spot zoning, yeah.
And they'll be like the in-house expert who makes sure everything's
And
right.
that's in building. So those
Correct.
two are in building, one's in fire, one's in health.
That's right.
All right. Do you have anything else, man?
Right, so then,
Which one would you suggest they reach out? I mean, obviously all at the same
Yeah,
time,
is
but
it-
which one first?
I think building, but I wouldn't say which one first, cause.
Okay. I was just curious.
Yeah, because they might be a sequence, like fire might say, hey, you got to do building first, and health might say, hey, you didn't do this or that yet.
but the
You
good
never
news
know.
is building and health are like in the same building.
Great.
So start there, and if they send you the fire department, it's down the street.
Great.
Same floor. You can even call fire department. You wanna get the department fire prevention. Normally is Luis Izquierdo, he's the captain. Just let him know basically what you're trying to do. You're trying to apply for a liquor license, so you require these inspections.
Gotcha.
And they'll set everything up and let you know how, the next step.
Do we have anything else?
So we didn't do the motion to table it, though?
We have not yet.
Okay.
No.
Fire department is occupancy, right?
No, building.
Building's occupancy. Building is the changes use.
Yep.
Fire is just to make sure there's what? Proper
Sprinklers,
egress. and
Sprinklers,
Sprinklers.
Cut off,
sprinklers, egress.
they're gonna want cutoffs to your music.
Yep.
Fire repair.
Into your comprehensive, fire system.
Yep.
That, so if there's a fire and you have music playing, the music cuts off, stuff like that.
All right.
You'll get a list.
Yeah. Excuse me. And then health is because of the bar and
The
food
lemons, the
stuff.
limes,
Yeah.
and according to their code, alcohol is considered a food.
All right. Did you have anything else? Yeah, those are all permits or,
Board of Health has their own requirements when it
Yeah.
comes to bars, so they'll do a full inspection, let you know what you need or don't need, kind of the same, similar kind of to building, just two different
okay.
codes that they follow.
And your Board of Health approval will also be needed for the common victular license?
That we get from you all.
Yes.
Yep.
But the common vic, I wouldn't stress
Yeah.
that too
No,
much
we're not
because it's a
str-
really
yeah.
simple application. It's a one-page application.
All
So I wouldn't stress that.
And
And
as
to-
long as you have the Board of Health approval, we issue.
As long as they have everything, then we get to issue the license.
And
No,
to
the common
Commissioner
victular license,
Moriarty's
we issue
point-
with- We only need a Board of Health approval for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the commissioner's point, let's just say it happens and we're good in November. We're not, I mean, even if like tomorrow we were ready to go, we're not going to be able to do anything from January to March anyways.
And it also takes how many months when it's submitted to the state?
Well, they take 6 to 8 weeks, but with the state, you never know, it can take longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But bottom line is, we're not like holding your business back. I think.
No, we
we get
appreciate
the able
that.
to
Yeah,
work
yeah.
through, Which I'm always glad to see.
Yeah. Anything else? I think we're good.
Okay, great. So I want to, can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. All three commissioners have voted to table this until our November meeting.
Thank you.
And so if you want to give us an update, if you don't come in then I'm just gonna take it off I think we'll just take it off the agenda
Kick
until
it out
you.
to December.
Yeah.
Not
No, I
December.
would just,
We-
well, if they don't actually come in,
Ah.
I think we should take it off the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if November, if this doesn't get approved in November, we have to kick it back into the new year, because now November, we're into renewals, and the state does not process any new or transfer applications.
Okay.
So like, I'll have it, it just won't get over to the state until after the new year, because we are in renewal time.
So the state goes into a time period when they're very busy with their alcohol renewals, and they don't accept new submissions, and that's from when?
Starting November.
November 1?
So if it gets approved November, I'll send it. Anything after the November, agenda, because we're gonna run, November is renewal time.
And what date, November, is your next license, meeting?
Used to be the
So,
first Wednesday of the
yep,
month.
so right now I have November 6th.
November 6th.
If, the agenda's always posted 2 days prior, so it's always gonna be Monday. Just make sure you look at the agenda to find out the location. I don't know if it's gonna be here or on my floor in the 4th floor in the conference room.
And I guess just the thing I want to clarify, so if things can't all fall into place by November 6th, I just want to make it a minimum of hassle to come back in. It's not going to have to be any refilings or anything to just take it off. We just put it back on to an agenda when we're told
When they're
things are
ready.
ready. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have them
Okay.
resubmit.
Yeah,
the
that's
stuff
what I
have
wanted to make
already.
sure of,
No,
yeah.
no.
If we know we're not going to be, if we know that everything isn't set for the November, can we send an email in order to have it put on the agenda for the next, or do we need to come in?
I'm fine, as long as you contact someone,
Okay,
in
thank
some manner.
Okay.
But if they don't care and they voted to table it over, because you only need 2 people to do something, so
No,
if they
this
were
is
fine with
like
that.
whatever
But I'm just more interested if you don't communicate anything to us,
We'll communicate.
I would just prefer to take it off the agenda, but
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
fine.
2-person, we need 2 out of 3 votes on this, so, from the,
I guess what I'm asking is typical practice. I know typically license commissions will allow you to send an email or make a call before the meeting to keep an agenda item on.
We normally do.
yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck, good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, now we have our 2024 special one-day licenses. We have 4 of them. Can we take them together?
You can take 1 through 3 together,
We usually, okay.
because
Actually, I usually.
1, 2, 3 is the same event.
Okay, so that makes sense. Okay. Just forward. Sorry, I'm gonna rip this out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, I
know
like
if
to
the
say,
staples
you know
were
what?
gonna
I'm glad,
work
I
or
like that
not.
it's organized, and now I can, because this was so many pages for
Yeah.
the last one, so this is perfect. So now we're gonna do 3 at once, so we're doing Juan Uribe Food Festival, all of this is for the food festival. Juan Uribe, Gabriel Reyes, and Holyoke Youth Football. So this is for, these are all for October 19th and 20th. I'm assuming they all have HPD, and some of them have private security. And so I guess I have questions, because some of these are all alcohol, and I want to make sure either it's going to a charity or there's a charity behind it.
So, Holyoke Youth Football is a nonprofit organization. They submitted proof to me, but also for item 1 and 2, this is a nonprofit event, so all the money that they make is going back into somebody that's battling cancer.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good
great.
enough.
And that's how they've been doing it that's what they've been doing for 3 years now. This is their 3rd one.
Okay. And so I noticed, since they all have private security, or Holyoke Police Department, there's no security issue.
No, Holyoke Police is always normally in the area, and this year, the only thing that's different is 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. Normally, in the past, it has only been a 1-day event, but it is for 2 days this year.
Okay. Any questions?
No, make a motion to approve.
Just pending payment and liquor liability, please.
So motion to approve pending
Pending
payment
subject payment,
and
liquor
liability
liability.
insurance. I would
Yep.
second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. All 3 commissioners have voted in favor. Now we're on to Blue Door Gatherings, 400 Dwight Street. This is an event, why am I not seeing, oh, there it is.
So they,
October 3rd,
sorry.
tomorrow.
Oh, no, these are the.
Yeah, but this is tomorrow.
Yes, this is, so their event was supposed to happen today. They submitted their application later. They missed the deadline for September. So they kind of switched everything for the next day. So it's 4 applications.
Okay, and so it's on each one, they're doing it on Thursdays. It's the 3rd of October, the 10th of October, the 17th of October, and the 24th. Each day they're saying it's 100 people. They're notifying the police fire department, and they're selling beer and wine. So, and it's 100 people over a 4-hour period. So security's, that's fine for security.
Yeah, because Blue Door Gathering is where Canna Provision and Holyoke Cannabis is at. So
Yeah, it's
there,
next-
it's like a window, so everything's outside. I don't think they're
It's next to
expecting
Fame.
100, exactly, sorry, yep.
Yeah.
I don't think they're expecting 100 all at once.
It's
It's
just,
in and
yeah,
out.
4 hours.
Yeah.
I'm, good with
Pending
it? Good with it? What is it? Pending payment? So I want to make a motion to approve the 4 one-day license. It comes as 4 licenses, right?
4 applications, yep.
Yeah. These 4 applications for one-day license for Blue Door Gatherings during the month of October, pending payment.
Yes.
Can I get a second?
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All 3 commissioners have voted in favor. Okay. Now we're on to open air licenses, and now we don't have any more paperwork. Can I take these together?
Yes.
So these are all temporary open air licenses. Gabriel Reyes, Juan Uribe, and Holyoke Youth Football, all temporary,
All for food festival.
all for Food Festival.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All 3 commissioners have voted in favor. Now a 2024 common victualler renewal. This is the Lopez Family LLC, doing business as El Chinchorro, Boricua, 187 South Street.
So this is a extremely late renewal.
Chinchorro, Boricua.
Boricua, all
There you
right,
go.
hey.
This is a late 2024 renewal. I guess they changed ownership. They have not got one for 2024, so this is for 2024.
Gotcha. Make a motion, we approve.
Everything's in.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All 3 commissioners present have voted in favor. Now we're on to
Class 2.
motor vehicle renewals. How should I take these?
All together, because everything's in.
Okay.
Wow.
Uh, So we have Class 2 for J. Gonzalez Enterprise, 27 Jackson Street. Class 2 for Scott Auto Leasing, 30 Hampshire Street. Class 2 for Williams Auto Sales, Inc., 591 High Street. Class 2 and repair for Ken's Auto Sales, Inc., 921 Main Street. Repair for Endangered Species 4-Wheel Drive LLC, 155 Elm Street. And Class 2 and repair for E-Trade Auto Center, Inc., 1635 Northampton Street. And everything's in? Any question, comment?
I just want to ask this, looking ahead to the first item on new business, does everybody, so the class 2 is sales, right? Yeah. Everybody here has a number of cars on their license?
Yes.
Like, there's not an issue with any of these folks?
No.
Just want to know that. Just make it easy now. Okay.
Yep. No issues.
Great. Want to make a motion to approve it? Can I get a
Second.
second? All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All 3 commissioners present voted in favor. Okay, see, Jose, I told you this was going to be a quick meeting.
Yeah, this was.
I think I'm wrong. I said 6:15. I think it's going to be, could be,
Let's go for it.
yeah, all right. So determine license number of spaces for automotive licenses, missing license number of spaces, missing the number on their license. And I just emailed Alex today and said, bring in anybody's file that you know has a missing, doesn't have a license, because I think we might be able to look back at an old license and get the number, and it'll be easy,
I like that.
and we'll be done. So,
So like I mentioned before, there's only one licensee, which is Raiden's Garage. In the past, in the folder, you do see 30 cars on the premise. As the years went on, one year just stopped kind of appearing. But it was 30 vehicles that he had permission for
Okay.
on premise.
So I'm glad we did the records review. This will be something we take up when we look at his routine renewal, I assume,
okay.
right? I mean, I'm asking. Yeah.
Or we can just say, when his renewal comes up, we can make a motion to put 30 on his
Right.
license.
Right. He's, based on past history, I have a feeling this will be objected to strenuously.
Why?
So,
Oh,
doesn't matter, he's going to. And I think, you know,
He did the last
yeah,
time.
just in all fairness, I think he should have prior notice to be here at the time it's done so that he can make his case and we can then make a decision.
Yep, when
based on
he
what's
drops
here.
off his application, I would definitely make him aware, that we will discuss the number. So if he's able to make the meeting, to definitely join.
And I think it'd be a great idea to have the file with you at that time too.
Yep.
We can back up everything that's being said.
And I'll organize
Right.
it and make copies and, kind of put the dates on where it kind of stopped putting.
Yeah,
the
I
numbers.
think that's, forewarned is forearmed. So there
okay.
we go.
Sean?
I didn't see an issue
Yeah.
with someone going against it, especially if it was an old number. So I hope it doesn't open up a can of worms, because there are some older years where he had less.
Yeah,
And so to be honest, if the can of worms gets opened, it may not be good for him,
sure, but,
because he had 25 some years.
yep.
I don't remember, I do remember 30, but I would
I-
have to look at the
Yeah.
file.
I remember when this came up a couple of years back, that it had 25, then was switched to 30, and then it disappeared. So
Right.
I hope it doesn't open the can of worms up, because I'm willing to go with the 30.
Right. Long as the conversation's happening in the license holder's presence, I think it's fair game.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So then if it's up for review, then we're gonna have to go further, then may wanna go further back.
Sure.
Okay. So,
Conversation go where it will.
so do we make, what's the motion that needs to be made today? Obviously, you don't wanna pick the number,
I don't-
and I understand that.
Yeah, I don't think there is one. I think it's just so that Alex has the clarity that it is absolutely appropriate to give this one license holder a heads up that that is going to be a change in this year's license and to be here. And that doesn't require board action, it's just, we know that's how it's gonna be.
Okay, okay.
I think-
And that's the only, and everyone else now has a number. Great. And so we're on to the next item. Approval of meeting minutes.
So I know you emailed me about July, because I didn't add it to last month's agenda, but when I look back, reviewing the meetings, July got approved in the August meeting. So right now, the only thing that needs to be worked on is, August and September. Well, and now this one. So I just want, like, for
So we have nothing-
clarification.
so we have nothing to
No,
approve?
because September is
Oh, okay,
almost
right.
done, just not yet
Okay.
complete, but I just wanted to make you aware that July was already approved. The July
Okay,
set of minutes were approved.
okay, so I
On
reread it,
eight-
I
on
re-glanced at it.
8/1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I
on 8/1.
re-glanced at it.
And
Okay.
again, becomes a really easy paper trail. The July minutes exist, then when the August minutes exist and you see we voted on it, it all comes together.
Yeah,
And then you got your set.
yep, so, but I just, because I know you had questions, so I just wanted to clear that.
So we're only outstanding right now is August
September.
and September.
And now this one, but
And now this one.
September's almost done, I just didn't want to send it half
Okay.
how it is.
Okay.
It's just some things I need
And
to.
how about from the prior year? There's still some outstanding, weren't there?
I think there's 2 or 3. There was
Okay.
a medical emergency this morning in the office
Okay.
with the intern that's working on them.
Okay.
It was like really bad.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
that's understandable, but we were shooting for the end of the year to just
Yep.
have the set complete. We think we're on track?
yeah,
Great,
Yeah,
okay. That's
for sure.
all I ask.
for sure. Yep.
And I don't think we have any matters.
Yes.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, just a heads up. So for the November meeting, we're gonna have a transfer of the Gateway City Arts license. I got the paperwork, so that's supposed to be transferring. I'm gonna send out as much information as possible ahead of time, so you guys are just aware of the background of how this license is supposed to be transferred. But that's about it. That's all
It's
I
transferring
have.
to the school.
No, it's not transferring to the school. They leased, the school doesn't want to put the liquor license under their name, so whoever they are renting the venue to, that's how the
The tenant will be the
the
license.
tenant
So, okay.
is transferring the license to him, which that's not normally protocol. He should be the bar manager, but this license should really be getting transferred under whoever bought Gateway City Arts entity. Come to
but
find out, this person only has a year lease. The venue person only has a year lease. So every time there's a new tenant in that venue, we're going to have to do a whole meeting and hearing to transfer this application.
So what, but not everyone owns their bar space.
Absolutely right. I'm thinking about the mall.
So,
Yeah, but
Everybody
that's
does
their,
a tenant.
but
so they must sign a year lease constantly.
yeah, but for the mall, for example, which I think is a perfect case scenario, they lease the space, but the entity owns that license. So whoever owns the business, that's
Owns the license.
exactly
So wait, who's gonna own the license?
the tenant. Which normally the tenant should be the bar manager, not the owner of the license,
I see your point. So-
Okay, I'm not-
so
Once
sorry,
this
I'm not
license gets
following.
transferred to this Keith person, basically, even though the school bought it, if Keith wants to go and sell it,
He can't-
because everything is under his name, it could just
Yeah.
cause a huge problem down the
Yes.
line with
Yes, I agree.
the owner and the tenant. So I just want to make sure they are clear of,
Right.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to the mall for just a second, because I'm thinking about Pizzeria Una in particular.
Yeah.
If I remember, it wasn't anybody from the Pyramid Corporation or anybody
It
on
was from
behalf of the mall
Pizzeria.
management. It was from the corporate entity that ran it.
Because
That's-
Pizzeria Uno was the one who owned the license.
Right.
Yeah, and they were just tenants
And that's
in that
exactly what
space.
she's saying.
Steve.
Yeah.
Steve owns the license, which was the owner of Uno's, from my understanding.
Right.
So Steve is in the process of selling that license.
Right.
Right, because Steve ran,
Right. But the space he was operating in, he was just a tenant to the Pyramid Corporation.
yeah, which that's no problem.
Okay.
I guess
But that's, okay, so I think
The
I'm,
tenant has the license.
Yeah.
so,
Right.
so
He
Steve
had the
purchased
license.
that license all himself. I forgot, do you know the school's name?
Yeah, Lighthouse.
Lighthouse purchased Gateway City. So instead
Right.
of, Lighthouse technically should be transferring this license under Lighthouse. They're not.
Right, but
They're
they're-
transferring it over to the tenant, which is not protocol, because
Well,
that's not.
it's not normal.
Right,
And
it's
it
not
can,
normal.
and it can quote unquote bite them in the
But-
butt.
right.
At some point,
Right.
if the tenant
Right.
the tenant once signed over, could literally just sell the license.
Exactly.
And that's
Absolutely.
where that's
Even
where it's
though-
different.
Right,
Even
although
though
we have
they
oversight of any
technically-
attempt like that.
No,
To sell the license, we approve that transfer, don't we?
right, but this
Yeah.
is how they're submitting their application to us. So that's why I need to make sure Lighthouse is totally aware of that. Because
yeah.
we're not, if something was to happen like that, we're not getting involved.
Yeah, why would,
Yeah,
to see Alex's point, if there was something unscrupulous by the new tenant that they just wanted to sell the license, how, as
not
long
a-
as they're transferring it to someone that had a new business, how, I don't know that we'd have a right to step in and say, oh, no, you can't transfer this because they transferred it to you with the intention that it would stay in the space.
Yeah.
So the reason it's not so nefarious is because to do the transfer, you gotta fill out an application and come here. And we get to look at everything that's going on, every time. It's not something happened in a back room we never heard about.
But then you cannot, as a licensed commission, you cannot not allow the person that is the new tenant to sell the license if he wants.
And not
Correct.
even the
So,
tenant, the
that's
new
true.
licensee, the new
So-
owner of the license. You can't
Exactly.
stop them.
Right.
Exactly.
But from emails from Tashina today,
Yeah.
we can put conditions on a license.
Correct.
So could we put a condition that the license has to remain at this location unless we change that?
We don't need that condition. It already exists. You're not moving from that location unless we approve it in a transfer. You can't go from one place to the next without
No, but
coming
if we
through us.
explicitly put it on the condition of the license transfer.
What for? It's already the law.
No, I don't think we
not
can
really.
even
If he-
put
if
that
he sells
because
it,
that's their agreement. That's not
Whoever
our
buys it
agreement.
can
Okay.
put him in place whatever new establishment he wants to put it at.
Sure, but not without coming to us first.
Right, so you're saying that if
But
the
you're not gonna
tenant
say-
comes in to transfer the license, you're gonna deny it? No, you can't technically, because that's his license. He's transferring the license under his LLC. It's all his information, all the tenant's information. So once the state approves it,
Yeah, it is
But-
true.
but-
The new owner of Gateway now, they very, very clearly understand all
I
this.
just need to make sure they
because-
understand this,
Yeah,
because
I get
if
her
something
piece
was
on
to
this.
come down, we're not getting involved in that.
Exactly.
But, Michael, let's say that this transfer, we transfer it through. Now, a legitimate LLC now owns that license.
Sure.
How are we, just because we knew the history, what gives us the right to stop that new, because now they are the new owner of they are the new license holder.
Yep.
Yeah.
If they wanted to transfer it to another business or open something else somewhere else and take that license
Exactly.
with them.
They have every right.
They have every right.
So-
So that's why I'm talking about putting a condition on the license
So
where
why-
it has to stay in that space.
Why is that different from every other license holder in the city of Holyoke?
Because every other city, every other licensee owns their license. Even though they're renting the space, they physically own that license. So all Puerto Rico, they lease it, but that's all Puerto Rico's license.
So if the person takes the license, now he decides he doesn't want to be in there after 1 year, and he goes, he
could
can
just-
take the license with him.
Sure. I mean, so
And then
isn't-
whenever new
Yeah.
person goes in, we will have to apply.
But isn't that what we're talking about here, is that
No.
the lighthouse people are giving up the license to this tenant?
No.
What are they doing?
Well, they are basically giving up they're transferring the license to the tenant.
Yeah, it's not theirs anymore.
Yeah, but I think their intention is that when, let's say this tenant is here, I mean.
The
Lighthouse
intention is that the
gonna have a really
license is
big
gonna
space.
stay there,
If-
but it's not gonna happen that way.
Right,
Right.
but that's why I brought up the possibility, if the lighthouse wanted to put the condition on it, that it has to stay at that address.
Okay, so to,
That was just a-
so to protect them from watching the license get pulled out from under them, because in reality, it's still a license they own, even though it's gonna be transferred to the tenant. And that's the part I'm not
Yeah.
completely getting.
So-
That's a different kind of transfer.
But
than
once they travel
They're
to the
basically-
tenant, they don't own it no more.
They're
The
basically
tenant does.
leasing
Right.
this liquor license, which if you call the state, there's no such thing as
It's leasing.
leasing a
That's
liquor
right,
license.
yeah.
What's
So what should have happened was Lighthouse should be transferring this license under their entity, because they're the ones who purchased this license. And then making Kyle the bar manager, because he's leasing the venue.
Exactly.
Wait,
So-
they don't own the license.
Yes.
VTech and Lori do, because they've never transferred it out.
Right, but so technically right now it's still under Gateway City Arts. So
Right.
this transfer will be in the November agenda.
Right, from Gateway City Arts to the tenant.
Right, but it should really be going to Gateway City to whoever purchased Gateway City, which is Lighthouse. The tenant
Now-
didn't purchase
What's-
Gateway City,
But does Lighthouse simply not want to own a liquor license?
I guess.
Which, and I can think of a lot of reasons why a school doesn't want to own a liquor license, or maybe is even legally unable to own a liquor license.
I haven't seen anything that prevents them from
So-
having this license under their entity.
Right, but there's some regulatory stuff having to do with schools that I'm aware of that might affect their operations. So they've got two things to think about with that. Bottom line is, I hear what you're saying about the concern and trying to look after these guys, so they're not like, they don't watch the license get stolen from them, essentially. And I'm very sympathetic to that, but I actually think that is, a lot of these are business decisions Lighthouse needs to make with the advice of good counsel and not advice from us.
And that's
Right.
why I don't think a condition is a good idea, because whatever deal they made is between them. I just want to make sure you guys are aware of the backstory, because
Yeah.
normally this is not how a license gets transferred. And I also want to make Lighthouse aware of, once this transfer goes under Kyle's LLC, technically, if Kyle decides to run with this license, there's nothing we can do to stop him, because he technically is the license holder.
There's nothing, we really can't stop him if he takes it.
Right.
Why wouldn't they just do a second LLC?
That's another
I
option, but I'm
mean,
also
why
wondering,
purchase a building with the alcohol license?
how much is the license being transferred for and
That
who's
was my
paying who?
question.
If Kyle's paying VTech and Lori,
No, Kyle's not.
so who's paying?
Lighthouse bought VTech. Lighthouse is the one that purchased the alcohol license and the building.
But they never came and transferred that. They paid for it, but they didn't get a transfer done?
Right.
That's
Because they're
not-
transferring
yeah.
it over to their tenant
In
now.
November.
Yeah, and so what they really should be doing is just getting that price from the tenant. It's like, yeah, it's your license, pay me for it. That would make
Legally.
it normal.
Right, but I guess they have a lease, and in that lease,
They
you know,
put the
he's leasing
license in
this
there.
for a year.
Yeah.
He's leasing the space for a year, so he's leasing the license for a year, which, as we know, there's no such thing as leasing
Yeah.
a liquor
Right.
license.
And leasing from who? Again, it still belongs to VTech and Lori.
I mean, he's not gonna lease
Yeah.
anything once
Right.
it gets transferred to him. He's not leasing
Right.
anything. It's his
Yeah.
license.
It's, because, because it doesn't even.
So I
it's-
just- yeah.
It's never been transferred to Lighthouse, so it's not theirs to lease. It still belongs to the current license holder.
I understand.
Yeah.
I get it. I get what you're saying
And,
now.
Yeah.
and
Yes, yes,
if this,
you're
tran-
right.
and if
You're
this
right.
The
application
lighthouse needs to
comes-
be very clearly understand what they're going to
Yeah.
be doing with that.
Yeah.
when-
Because I don't want it to fall back on us.
When
Yeah.
this application comes in, it's going to be for a transfer from
Gateway City
Gateway City Arts
to Kyle.
to Kyle.
Right.
Yes,
So there's actually not even going to be a paper trail
Right.
of Lighthouse.
that,
In which case.
The lighthouse.
Yeah, it essentially, if part of their purchase price was to obtain this license and they don't get it back now, they are putting themselves at some very serious risk. Of course, the other thing that is, so two things, you know, because we have seen stuff like this before. Think about Fernandez, where the license stayed back after the real estate got transferred. And it was kind of a messy situation for a while. But it got worked out. They got a transfer done. Fernandez family was taken care of. Those guys got their seasonal, everything's, that's all ancient history now. That's one kind of situation that's kind of like this in a way, if you will. VTech and Lori still have that license, even though they don't have the property anymore. So it's kind of similar, right? Meanwhile, compared to the mall, and sure, tenants can have liquor licenses. It happens, and it's tied to the address
can
until
own it.
we
Yeah.
transfer it out.
Yep.
But, you know, the other thing that's different at most commercial leases, which is something kind of questioned here, those are often 5, 10, 20-year leases with automatic rights to renewal, not one-year licenses where it's a very unstable situation
And
for us on
Aaron
an
was
annual
like,
renewal.
you might want to do a 5-year lease, not a 1-year lease.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if my entity goes in after his year lease is up, now I have, every year, there's gonna be a new transfer application, which
Right.
is going to be insane because they're not gonna be able to provide the documents to complete this. They can't even, there's a whole bunch of stuff missing now, like purchase of sales, because he didn't purchase it, so how can he provide proof of the, but the state can,
Right.
you know,
So hopefully they've got good counsel that's advising them on this, because this is, I hear the weirdness you're talking about. And I hear about this rightfully well-regarded nonprofit trying to establish themselves down there that we don't want to see get hurt by anybody doing anything nefarious. I'm with you on every bit of that. I just think we have to hear an awful lot from them when they come in. You're right, it's gonna be a weird one.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of it, and I feel like because I know about the alcohol, I feel like it's kind of my duty to just make her
Wow.
aware of this stuff, so
Yeah.
at the end she can't say oh, why you never told me. Because I know Lighthouse purchased it, I feel like they have a right to know. Once it gets transferred to Kyle, it's Kyle's
Theirs anymore.
license.
That's right.
They can't do anything, so that's that. Aaron wanted me to bring up a few things. Does the license board want to create a BYOB policy? Or do we not want to create
well,
one?
currently, any establishment that does not have any type of license can just say, this is a BYOB establishment.
They can't, because we don't have a policy. So,
I thought BYOB was legal in the state.
if the town has a policy,
Yeah.
if the city or the
Yeah,
town
it
has
has
a
to
policy.
be superseded
So,
by the
because
town.
it's something that people do call, I can't say yes and I can't say no, I just tell them Holyoke doesn't do BYOB.
So I guess my question is, what are the policies in the surrounding communities?
Yeah, we need a little bit of a study. Like, who's doing it? How does it go? What do their policies look like? I don't think we want to just invent something out of whole cloth.
Nope. I personally, I don't. And let's see what the other communities are doing, what works. Is that gonna be hard to find out?
No, I'll share that with you. I mean, I'll send it out. It's nothing you guys have to decide right now. It's just
Yeah.
something Aaron wanted me to bring up.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. You have,
And obviously with the BYO policy, an establishment with a seasonal license we have to make sure people understand that's off, you can't have any BYOB in a season.
not doing
Even when
BYOB
you're
off-season.
off-season.
You cannot have one and the other.
It doesn't convert
It's
to a
either one
BYOB
or the
business.
other, but not both.
Because that premise holds a liquor license. So
Right.
any premise that holds a liquor license, whether it's annual or seasonal, can't have a BYOB.
Alcohol's governed by the terms of the license.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, another thing was, he wants to discuss about adding a second meeting. In general, moving forward, like, instead of us meeting once a month, to see if we wanna start meeting twice a month.
That's a vote that we take in here, but my vote for now already is no.
Yep,
So,
so,
the only thing I would be willing to vote for would be specific, busy season months
And
that we already know in advance.
And that doesn't need to be discussed because
We already do it anyway.
This body already
I-
determined that every
which we
single
do in
month.
December and March.
Yeah, so-
But this is to have 2 meetings every month. So again, it's just to put it out there. You guys can think about it. It could be no next month too, but again, this is just something we
No,
want to
I mean,
meet
thank
up.
you for putting the information out there, but I'm just letting you guys know, my vote for now is a no.
Okay.
For 20-some odd years, there have never been 2 meetings as a rule, and I don't think it should be.
Okay.
Because we have
This doesn't
always,
always happen?
because we have always determined
Yeah.
if we need
I-
to.
Yeah,
Every
and I
time
think
we
it's-
feel there's a need, we'll do it.
Right,
So-
and that's why I don't have a strong feeling about it one way or another. Having a standing date can sometimes be helpful for scheduling. On the other hand,
We
having
have an
a se-
extending day.
Right.
The
Have-
first Wednesday of each month.
No, like having a second standing date can be helpful for scheduling, but it should be the exception rather than the rule. It's like we're using that second date because it's a good reason to do it, not because we're just gonna like divide the work and double the times we have to do.
Nope, it's not dividing the work. It's because applicants, as you're aware, don't make
Right.
the meeting. So, then they can't have their event. So he was like to kind of satisfy everybody and not be having these, last minute special meetings. If moving forward, if we just wanna, start hosting 2 meetings a month. So,
Yeah, see, I'm kind of good with the way that went recently because, if there's a specific need and we need to help somebody out, and we can post and get on Zoom and take care of that item, with a 48-hour notice.
The commission
Yeah.
has always been flexible enough
Yeah.
to be able
Well,
to do a second one when it need to be.
Right, we can
Yeah.
continue to
So-
be flexible.
So with the
There's not a
case
need for
scenario about the second meeting, for the entertainment license, I mean, that meeting was only for that item. So if we have a second meeting, it won't only be for a specific item, it will be for applicants in general who didn't make the first meeting. It wouldn't just, so it wouldn't be the same as,
The second meetings are usually not for a particular item. We have picked it up for a particular item, but something else comes into play. You have always brought it forward.
Right, March and November, December,
It's
right?
still
Yeah.
not a different change.
Yeah.
I think Alex is speaking about the last time,
Yeah.
the special meeting
Right.
was just for that
Right,
one
'cause-
item
'cause-
last
right,
month.
'cause-
We have
one
those,
app-
we
yeah.
had those instances
It
before.
happens.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
happens.
One person reaches out, but Alex, I think, is correctly pointing out, there were a few other people who missed too, we could have taken care of.
But
We didn't
the-
know, they didn't approach anybody.
yeah. But the email
Yeah.
specifically said just for one item, so I didn't even wanna,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, that's just, don't kill the messenger, that's just something.
Oh, no, not
And
at
then, the final thing was, I had that ABCC training, in Springfield.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of when the state comes down and it's something for it's for the licensees. So Aaron is working with Pat Duffy, to kind of bring that into Holyoke to make, it's a good training for licensees, to have. Once that, happens, he wants to know if licensees attend the training, if we want to give them a discount for 2026.
So I got an idea about that. I'm just wondering if we start deliberating about something that specific right now, should this have been something named on the agenda? I just want to be a little careful about that.
Why don't we put it on the agenda for next month to discuss?
Yeah, and by then we might have some response from Pat about whether the ABC can accommodate this.
So this will be happening sometime in 2025 because obviously it's a lot of moving pieces.
Right.
The discount fee would be something internally, like that the board decides. So
Well, and
Right, and you're
that's-
talking about deciding that,
Right.
and having it as an item agenda to decide the discount.
Correct, rather than
that's
just
exactly-
yeah,
under.
so
So
yeah.
let's put it on the
business.
agenda for next month.
Perfect.
To make that decision.
That's right.
because none of this was like to get a decision, it was just to
Right.
throw it out there for you guys to start thinking
Perfect,
about
so
it.
then we can take it on
Should we
as old
have
business.
multiple ones of these on? Should we also have the adding an additional meeting on the agenda so we get an official vote? Or you
I
want
have
to
a
just?
feeling you kind of know where that's at already.
Well, we do,
We can
but
kind of leave that alone.
Yeah,
Leave it
I-
alone.
But-
I
but
think-
you're
should
the
we
chair.
take an?
You-
Should we?
Leave it
yeah.
alone,
Well,
leave it alone. You shoot
I would
yourself
tell
in the
you,
mouth.
you have the prerogative as chair to decide what gets printed on the agenda. That's like a right you have.
Right,
Yeah.
but I also, I kind of wanted to
Sure,
get
yeah,
the sense
collaborate. Yeah.
from you guys on this, if you thought that was worth it, or are we just gonna ignore it?
I mean, I don't think we're gonna walk out of here with a second meeting, I'll tell you that right
I don't think we
now.
are either.
So your call after that. you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I can add it just to protect us and making sure, like, if you want, I can definitely add it if we're gonna talk about it and make it official, like, no. It's up to you. You can have time to think about it. It doesn't need to be
I mean,
today. I'm sorry.
I already know the answer is no, and I think the answer is unanimously no, so I don't even. So it's probably not even worth having a discussion if the feeling is.
Right.
It's gonna be unanimously no, is that what you're?
That's
okay.
kinda where I'm
So let's go with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the only thing we'll add for next month to discuss
Is
is
the
the,
discount.
is the potential discount for people attending the special training
Yep.
for a discount off their liquor license in the
26.
following year.
Right.
That's
And
nice.
we
It's a
can
nice-
discuss,
and
it's a nice
debate about
incentive.
that.
Right,
to
do our
get people-
deliberation when we've named it in the agenda, because that's always a better place to be.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yep, that's the only thing I had from Aaron.
Okay, anything else?
Nope.
So, I just made it, I said 6:15, 6:08.
Boom, look at that.
I didn't know about all these
Sorry, I know,
items, so
sorry.
otherwise I would. So I want to make a motion to close the license board meeting for Wednesday, October 2nd at 6:08 PM. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. All three commissioners present voted in favor of closing our meeting. We didn't discuss, though, the next date, but,
Oh,
It's in the agenda written.
okay, is everyone, great.
We're good. I already wrote out like, I don't
And
care.
next meeting may be back in our old space.
oh, really? Good.